I convene the March 12th, 2025 Personnel and Policy Committee meeting to order at 7 p.m. Jackie, please call the roll.
Vanessa Berry.
Here.
Emily Swistak, absent. Karen Larson.
Here.
Laura Paley.
Here.
Tatiana Weinstein.
Here.
Will Savage.
Here.
Agenda item 2 is opportunity for visitors to speak. Public comment is for the general public to address the board. Each person will have up to 5 minutes to provide public comment. Seeing no one. Agenda item 3 is to approve the March 12th, 2025 Personnel and Policy Committee meeting minutes. Can I have a motion and a second?
I move to approve the minutes of the March 12th, 2025 Personnel and Policy Committee meeting. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, Jackie, can you call the roll?
Vanessa Berry.
Aye.
Karen Larson.
Aye.
Laura Paley.
Aye.
Okay, agenda item 4 is to discuss LLD policy 610, patron code of conduct. Director Weinstein, you want to go through the draft?
Yeah, sure. So, for Laura's benefit, I hope that the packet was easy to understand.
Yes.
So, as per usual, everybody gets a current copy of the policy, and then there's a draft with lots of strikeouts, and then there's a clean copy for ease of reading. So, if we start with policy 610, we actually recently updated this. However,
When did we
well,
up?
23 actually. the end of
23? That's what I
Oh,
thought.
a little while ago. It seems like it was not that long ago. But we recently had an incident at the library which never crossed our threshold before, or at least we weren't aware of it. But a person was cooking in the library.
I noticed that in the, I figured there was a reason for that addition to the.
Cooking?
So they brought a appliance
Okay.
and was cooking some noodles. And we had to let them know that that was not appropriate for the space. It was out here in the vending area, even though it was in the kind of food area. It just, it's a hazard. It's not appropriate. So we've, adjusted the policy to reflect not cooking or preparing food outside of the kitchen area. But while looking at the policy, there were some other things to tweak. So if we go to, I'm working up the draft, but if you want to change anything, I will make notes on my clean copy, and then those edits will then go to the full board. So under number 2, we added or work under behavior which may disturb.
So is that geared towards employees?
Employees and or patrons
Okay.
working, even though it says disturb others or interfere with their rights to use the library, but or work at the library. Even though this is a patron code of conduct, it's for patrons to understand that they cannot harass or do something to employees either. So that's why we put or work in there. There were 2 strikeouts, one for loitering and one for prolonged staring. And both Will and I discussed this a bit. Loitering is kind of tricky because when you look up loitering, it's defined as having no apparent purpose in a space. And we have people here who don't have an apparent purpose, but they're allowed to be here. So I'm not sure loitering is the right word to use here. We have other things, behavioral things that, of course, we don't want people doing, like harassing, indecent exposure, and things like that. The prolonged staring was an interesting discussion because how do you determine that prolonged staring is, like, does it butt up to harassment? We got harassment and intimidation.
I thought it kind of fell under intimidation.
Agreed. So that's where we fell. We thought that was under intimidation. But, you could have somebody who's, I'll use the colloquial, like just zoning out. And, that could be deemed as prolonged staring. And we just don't think it's something that you could, anyway. So we'll move on from that one. Number 3 remains the same. Number 4 is where what initiated this. So food may not be consumed or prepared in the library. And then there's an additional sentence, cooking appliances and devices may not be used outside of designated kitchen areas. And And then number 5 remains the same, number 6 remains the same. I'm just gonna go through these and then if we wanna go back, we can. Tweak number 7, just to take out A and member because we use library staff otherwise, just to be consistent. Number 8, so this came to be because we've had some staff ask about summer wear. So we had a long discussion about this last time.
Yeah.
And it used to be more, it used to have more examples. And then we like whittled it down to what was. And now we're kind of broadening it with, first of all, changing non-recreational to an explanation. Because what we're trying to avoid is someone coming in like Speedos and a tank top or a full-on bathing suit. So non-recreational is kind of the way we were going with that, but recreational can also mean like a tennis outfit. So, you know what I'm saying? So we're not gonna kick somebody out in a tennis skirt and a tennis top, you know?
Yeah.
So explaining it as apparel such as swimwear and undergarments worn as attire is not permitted, is where we went. And then just changed the word spaces to institutions, because that's what we are, and I didn't want to be vague about spaces, so that's why that
I
changed.
feel like that kind of gives people a better understanding too, like what's appropriate for a public institution.
Yeah, it's a little more clear. Under number 9, just omitted the other. I don't know if that makes sense more to you. Under number 10, I added just something to let people know we do provide equipment to secure bicycles or scooters. Number 11, we added and property. So we want to let people know you can't tamper, deface our facility and property. And then separated it into 2 sentences. So that was a very long sentence that used the word and, so we separated it with proper authority shall be notified when vandalism occurs. Number 12 remains the same. Number 13 is cooking again. It's just to emphasize that we don't want people cooking in the library or on our property. And then just explaining, it used to just say personal care, but we also wanted to say or domestic activities such as sleeping, bathing, shading, camping, cooking, or storage. Because we have had people camp on our property before and on the vacant lots. Can't have that.
Okay.
It's probably good, like, to clarify before we start, like, developing
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. And there's another one here that also, I think, refers to the other property as well. 15 is the same, 16 is the same, 17, 18, 19, 20 is the same, 21 is the same. This is the one. So because we are going to be developing the Kingston lot, this used to say patrons must leave the property at closing time or as directed by library staff. And if we have a walking path and we close at 5 o'clock on a Saturday, are we gonna ban people from walking after dinner on our walking path? So changed it to say must leave the property as directed by staff, whether it is due to an emergency, facility matter, or non-compliant behavior. So that would be the only reason we'd ask people to leave, and not just at closing. Plus, we do have some patrons who actually park in our lot like before we open, after we open to log into the Wi-Fi. And we plan to have Wi-Fi available on the lot. So, and lights. So, and that is it for this. So do we want to go back on any, or is there any like grammatical changes that are needed or enhancements on this?
Yeah, I didn't find any grammatical things. Oh no, Emily's not gonna be
I
here.
know.
She's our, like,
She's our grammar
English
police.
grammar.
She
I
did
didn't
say
see
she
it.
will look at this and, they have another bite of the apple at the board meeting to make changes, so
Mhm.
she will look at this again.
And I think you clarified my question about number 2 because I was gonna say, is this only for employees, but this is also people working at the library, so.
Oh, I missed number 14.
Oh, that's, this one.
Mhm.
Yeah, or other noises, and that just, and I tried to read through every one of them, trying to say like, what could we be missing? And other noises, meaning like whining or crying about the service animal.
Mhm.
If that was ongoing, we would ask them to leave the property.
That's all I had. Do you guys have any other?
No, looks fine.
So are we comfortable bringing this one to the full board at the next meeting?
Yes.
Do I need to, I don't need to do motions. Okay, so agenda item 5 is to discuss LLD policy 815, personal vehicle use for library business. Would you like to go?
Yes, okay, so this one's got a lot of red on it. This came up because originally to remove finance director, because we no longer have a finance director, but again, after reading through it, trying to reformat it to make it a little bit easier to read, and the last time we looked at this was in 1998. So we started with first a title change, instead of library business, changing it to library activities. The term business can be misinterpreted sometimes, and we want people to understand that it's for any library activities, whether it's quote business or for like events or fun or programs or things like that. And we also added volunteers to this because we do ask volunteers for their insurance cards, because if volunteers do things like home delivery, we need their insurance information, so we had to add that. And just changed the phrasing in the introductory sentence and added the acronym LLD, because we do that with all our policies, and changed that introduction to read, at times, the Lisle Library District employees, trustees, and volunteers may use their own vehicles for a library sanctioned activity. And then I wanted to explain what activity is in the footnote, and we need to do that because activity means, it does not mean you're driving to the library or you're exiting or leaving the library. So that's explained under footnote number 1. And then just divided it into A and B to make it easier to read, as well as there's a caveat for trustees. So under proof of insurance, it's just employees and volunteers who are asked upon hire to provide their proof of insurance. And then just more clarity to who takes care of the insurance cards and such. So the LLD Administrative Office Manager, which is Jackie. And moving on to accidents, then if there is an accident, it's the employee, trustee, or volunteer. If they're involved in an accident while using a personal vehicle, the library may reimburse the employee, trustee, or volunteer for a portion of their deductible. And then there's the list of what must happen to be reimbursed. So that's all listed here under 1 through 6, and then under number 3, it talks about trustees. So if trustees want that reimbursement, then you go down to footnote number 2, and that's where trustees must provide the proof of insurance. In the other reading, if you read the current, it was confusing, I thought. So I think it's better laid out this way.
So basically, like, employees and volunteers have to give proof of insurance when they like take the position.
Yes.
Trustees, if we're like driving for library business, get into an accident, then we have to give our
Yes.
insurance. Okay.
Yeah. We don't ask trustees once they're elected, like, give us your proof of insurance. And that's really my only explanation. If you have any questions about anything that's listed here or the changes from the current to the draft.
So the last time was 1998?
Yes.
Wow.
It's a while ago. Yes.
No, it looks
Yeah, that looks
Makes
good
sense.
to me.
concise.
Yep.
Okay, very comfortable bringing this on to the full board.
Yep. I am.
Agenda item number 6 is to discuss LLD policy 830, employee and volunteer reference and background checks.
Yes. This is another one where it had the finance director listed there, so we need to remove that and add the administrative office manager. Under the third paragraph on the draft, we just added the, it's a little bit better wording there, and added the acronym for the FCRA there, changed to be in compliance, just comply, a little bit more direct. And then just more clarity with the reference checks under A. Instead of just saying LLD personnel, it's supervisory personnel who do the reference checks there. And then if you flip the page, under C, just better wording there. We kept saying current, changed it to employees and volunteers, and then current employees and volunteers. We just had current too many times, so I took that out. Under D, I'll go through each of these. So number 1 under procedure, there's just more clarity regarding the form is provided by us, in case someone was confused about what form we were talking about. Under number 2, D2, again, no finance director, it's the administrative office manager there. Under number 3, just more clarity that it's the administrative staff who will review the results. Number 4, more clarity, it's supervisory staff will assess the risks and liabilities regarding the requirements. Again, number 5, we took out the no finance director, and what else did I do there? And just appropriate administrative staff will undertake any changes if we decided not to hire someone based on the background check. And then number 6 is, again, being more clear regarding who is maintaining the files. Any questions?
I was just a little confused about number 5. Like, are there specific things that would be required if they didn't pass the background check, or is it just kind of on a case-by-case basis?
It would be dependent on why they didn't pass the check, the background check. So if it was like a minor infraction and you chose not to hire somebody, I mean, you have expertise in this, correct?
A little bit of background, yeah. It really varies widely, and it's kind of subjective to the requirements of the job and what the infraction was.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So leaving it this vague is...
I think it's
good.
best
Okay.
because there could be a number of reasons why you wouldn't. And if you don't hire someone based on a very minor thing, there could be legal things involved. So that's why you want to follow the FCRA specifically.
And then my only other grammatical thing was on number 5C, can we put the parentheses at the end? So like the number of convictions, parentheses, if more than one.
5?
5C.
Oh, this is under B, background checks.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, B5C, gotcha.
B, 5, C. Say it again. Oh, after.
Yeah.
Oh, I should do that on my clean copy. B, 5, C. Place here. Okay.
That was all I had. Do you guys have any other comments? Are we comfortable bringing this onto the full board?
Yes, no.
Yeah.
When was the last time this was updated?
2019.
So the next one is agenda item 7 is to discuss LLD policy 850, section 14E, floating holidays.
This is easy.
Yeah.
And actually, the board approved the policy 850 is the entire employee handbook, which is like, what is it, 75 pages long or something like that? This is a section of that. So we reviewed it all, but we just added Juneteenth as a floating holiday, so that is the only change, is adding it to the bullet point list and then changing the receive 4 to 5 paid floating holidays. That's the only change.
Okay. Everyone comfortable bringing that one to the full board?
Yes.
And then agenda item 8 is to discuss LLD policy 850, section 14H, insurance.
Okay, so this one, this is something that Jackie and I discussed because we've never run into issues with, let me rephrase this. So if you read the new section, it states, insured staff who retire and regularly work 30 or more hours a week and qualify for their IMRF pension may continue to purchase health, dental, and vision insurance from the LLD. It's paid in full by the retiree, so they can buy into our insurance plans. Retirees are advised to complete the applicable IMRF health insurance continuation forms authorizing IMRF to deduct premiums from their pension checks. The LLD shall submit the completed health insurance continuation form to IMRF. So we've had people who have retired and have sent us their checks in the mail. Sometimes the checks get lost, sometimes there's a communication gap between the retiree and the library. Sometimes the retiree is working through their children to send us their checks and they're in different states.
Oh, wow.
So we've run into some hiccups, not horrible problems, correct, Jackie?
They're not been horrible, but it's becoming persistent or some
It'd
of
be
the
easier just to
retirees
do
are
like
A deduction.
Deduction.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we've had some communication issues that brought us to.
Yes. So having something in the policy is it's good for staff. We've never had anything in writing in a policy, so staff understand that after retiring they can do this. That's this clear. But we also want to strongly encourage that people who do retire have it just straight deducted. It's like direct deposit, but direct deduction from their IMRF pension. So that's why that's there.
Yeah. I think
Nice.
that sounds good. Makes it a lot easier for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, it's hard when you've got maybe somebody who's of a certain age and maybe it doesn't hear well, doesn't see well anymore, and they're having like a family member work for them and then they're busy, they've got their kids, they're working in a different state. It's just hard, and we want them to have their insurance, but getting that payment is tough.
Yeah.
So we've had some delays.
Looks good to me. There were any other things. We're comfortable bringing this one to the full.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So, anything else before we move to adjourn? Can I have a motion in a second?
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
What time? We are trying to.
7:22.
Okay.
22.